Okay, what's up, guys? Welcome to a Moss Gets Athletic video. Now, lately I've been watching a lot of videos on the Owen Hart situation. For those that don't know that, Owen Hart was well, at the time, WWF wrestler. He was doing a stunt, and the stunt went wrong, and he ended up falling, I think they say like 100 feet to his death. I don't know if it was 100. I don't know if it was more or less. But he fell at a very extremely high height, and yeah, just slammed. I think they said on either part of the rope. I would imagine that is going to do damage, but they said it was the part of the rope that was closer to the turnbuckle. So, and that rope is like pretty stable. It's not like with the other. If he probably would have been in the middle, he probably would have bounced and flew or something. But or the ropes probably would have all snapped. I don't know, but anyways, yeah, a lot of people like to get this video confused, showing it's these two wrestlers. They're on top of this, like, I think that rafter was much more smaller because I'd seen the backstory on that video too, and they said I think there's like that guy had some injuries, but I think there's like the worst injury he had was a dislocated ankle. But there was this video of these two wrestlers that was like they were fighting on the rafters, but one took the other wrestler and threw him like off, and he slammed on all these tables in the middle of the ring. Well, it was like kind of like on the side of the ring, but he like fell off the ropes, bounced, fell on some tables and stuff, and yeah, it was that was a pretty crazy video too. But a lot of people like to get those two videos confused or title it saying, "Oh, Owen Hart's fall," but Owen Hart fell from a much more higher height. They said that guy was fine. Plus that video, I guess it was them wrestlers. Well, I think the one wrestler's name was New Jack, and he had like real legitimate beef with the wrestler he threw off of the rafter. So that is not the Owen Hart video. To debunk that whole thing, yeah, Owen Hart, when he fell to his death, it was dark in the arena. You couldn't see unless you were like looking, like you couldn't really, I guess, see him fall or something. But they did say like it was dark. Yeah, I think there's like a lot of people couldn't see it. There's like unless you were like paying attention or you noticed it for like briefly, but yeah, it was yeah, I think a lot of people when cuz even I clicked on that video when like just researching stuff. The only thing that you can find in relations to Owen Hart's death is an audio recording of the announcers. They were so it wasn't because it was Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross, but then they have like the other announcers, I guess, like for like they like well they overall speak in Spanish, but I don't know like for what country. I don't want to like come off as rude or disrespectful and say something, but it was really something else. But you can. That's the part that like kind of like creeps me out is that you can hear him slam in the background, and I was like, bro, that is man. Because I've been a long time wrestling fan, and Owen Hart was always a name that I heard, but I never knew who he was. And I remember looking his name up years and years and years ago when I was a child, and when I was like originally getting into wrestling. Because I'm telling you, like when I got into wrestling, I was discovering names, moves, just all of these different things and stuff. Like from like I made sure like when I was getting into it, I made sure I tried to discover everything I possibly could about it, and Owen Hart was definitely a name I came across. And now recently, they did a documentary about him. I'm much more older. I can understand things, better. And yeah, that situation, that was definitely, if it had been me, I probably wouldn't be able to wrestle that night. Regardless of whether I knew Owen Hart or if I didn't know, or if I knew him or if I didn't know him. I don't think I would have been able to wrestle that night. I'm like, shout out to all the wrestlers that wrestled that night and continued on, because that's one thing that I didn't know up until now was that his blood was stained in the ring, That nah, I would have left. I would have if I would have came out to wrestle and seen that. I would have left because I'm like, nah, that's not something that anybody should see, and I'm surprised that they didn't. I don't know, like it's that's because I was watching, or it was more like of audio recordings of wrestlers talking about Owen Hart, and it was like some videos like wrestlers talking about Owen Hart for 20 minutes, some stuff like that, and that was like one of the things that's always that even like in that video and just in any other video that I see, that they were saying that Vince McMahon should have like shut down the show, and thinking it over, I'm like, it's, it is a very, very tough call. Like, you don't really know what to do. But I think if I would have seen the blood and if I was in that environment, I probably would have shut down the show and told people. If I was Vince McMahon, I probably would have came out and said, like, hey, if y'all seen what had happened, or I'm pretty sure you guys, like, when the lights came back on and you seen him, like, just in the, like, just laid out in the mat and stuff, and paramedics and everybody is around him. I'm pretty sure you guys, some of you might know, but if you don't, he passed away, and we have to shut down the show because we can't know. I'm like, I don't think that anybody right now, and it's because no, there was Paul Bearer. He was talking about how him and Undertaker and Steve Austin, because I guess Undertaker and Steve Austin was supposed to wrestle, like they're the main event. And he was like, yeah, he's like, I don't even, man, like, that's why I said, like, shout out to each and every one of those guys that carried on that night and continued to wrestle, because I probably would have went home. I probably, if I had to wrestle that night, main event, whatever, I'm like, yo, we're gonna have to do this like another night or something, tomorrow night or whenever wrestling comes on next. But I can't do this here. Not where his blood is sitting, like, just, yeah, there in the mat and things. I'm like, it ain't even on some stuff like, oh, well, if we clean it up, no. Just to know that it's there and this man just died in this ring. I can't, I can't. And that's one thing people are saying. There's like, he could have possibly like died on his way to the hospital or what, but I'd seen one where, and it does kind of make sense. There's like, the way that everybody talks about it, like the rate that he was falling, like, and how fast it was, and then on how hard he hit. Because the referee that was in the ring at the time, because he said he was getting rid of debris, and said that the rope like came out of his hand and came back up and like hit his fingers and stuff. And I'm like, I don't. And if that happened with like the corner, I don't know exactly where the referee guy was at, but if that happened, if he hit that in the corner of the ropes, like, or kind of by the corner, it's you do all of that, like, yeah, something is not right, and it's like it kind of like leaves you wondering, like, if he would have fell like at any other part of the ring, like, would he have had like a better chance of survival? Because like, yeah, slamming either on your head or chest, and I think there's like he slammed on his chest, and then yeah, it slammed on the mat. But I don't know. Like, either way, it's, he definitely, if he would have not landed on the ropes and just landed directly in the middle of the ring, like, I don't know. It's a tough thing to answer whether he would have been okay or not, or I don't know. But yeah, that's crazy. Like, just now studying about that story and stuff. And his and I know people probably like ask me, how do you feel about his wife like suing the company? I feel like they did kind of, seem like they didn't. Well, I'm not gonna necessarily say that they didn't care, but I think that they should have, been there more for his wife. But I think, haven't they always, like, there's like some Hart members like that's still in wrestling, but it seems like that, like, WWE and the Harts, like, they got some issues, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I definitely, whatever I could have possibly did to, been there for his wife, like, I would have, because I just, yeah. In a situation like that, I don't know if she was there or saw or what, but Yeah, I don't think I would have been able to be like, oh yeah, we can't help you, we can't do this, we can't do that. Like I would have done whatever. I'm like, look, whatever you want, like we will provide it for you, because yeah, that's not cool. You know, it's you know, like let's say if she did see her husband die, I'm like, yeah, that's somewhere it's you have to be there for that person regardless. I don't care what the money issue is or whatever, like you have to be there for that person regardless. So yeah, I definitely would have I was trying to figure out like how my shoelace like standing up like that. It looked kind of weird for a second, but anyways, yeah, I you know, if it means anything, like I just hope and pray that the Owen Hart's family is doing okay. Like I, you know, even if I was his kid, whoever, if I was related to him somehow, like I'm feeling bad about it, and I'm not even related to the man. I didn't even wasn't even watching wrestling at that time. I was how old was I? Because they said that happened in '99. I was born in yeah, I was like yeah, 2 3 years old. So I'm like yeah, that's something. I'm like yeah, that's crazy. I think yeah, I was 3 years old. So I'm like yeah, that's insane that some stuff like that happens. That's what like yeah, that I would have never did a stunt like if I was a wrestler, I never would have did a stunt like that. I don't care how many times they be like oh for your character for wrestling and stuff, we think that that would be. I'm like no, I'm not doing that. I'm like, you guys better get like a mannequin and have it where he's falling, or you know, not falling, but like being like not lifted, but just being like down, like somehow I can't even think of the words because it's like this. You know, this situation is just really messed up, like thinking about it and stuff. But yeah, it's like I would have wanted them to, you know, like have it where it's a mannequin hanging off of that rope thing. But I don't want to do it. Then like once when he touches down in the mat, turn the lights out. I try to hurry up, undo him, put him underneath the ring, and then try to jump back in and stuff. But and then like hold the rope and let the. I'm like I'm not doing it myself. So I'm like unless it's like 20 feet from the mat. So I'm like, yo, if I fall, I'm like, yeah, wrestlers fall from 20 feet all the time and they still get injured. They were just showing a video where this wrestler, he literally just jumped off the turnbuckle and both his knees broke. I'm like, nah, man. I'm like, if yeah, that happens, you just jumping from the turnbuckle. It's like imagine how it is falling from like 100 and something feet in the sky, or from the yeah from the rafters. I'm like, yeah, bro. I never would have did a stunt like that again. I'm like, nah. I'm like, my body is being planted right here. I don't mind slamming. I'll do jumps like you know probably from the second turnbuckle, but I'm like anything higher. I'm like, bro, maybe that top turnbuckle, but I'm like, that's it's stuff like that. That's why it's like people they scared of heights. Like that's why they say Owen wasn't scared. They was just like, you know, he still continued. He wanted to do the stunt. So I'm like, hey man, you know, whatever he was overall thinking. He definitely was thinking about people that whole time. Because even they said when he was falling, and then they was like he either yelling or he was well, I mean, of course, if he was screaming, it's like you know I wouldn't blame him and things, but think they did say that he yelled out either to the fans or I don't know where he thought he was gonna fall, but he must have seen that he was close to that referee and was all like scream looked out and stuff. But yeah, that's crazy. I'm like that's insane. I'm like you know rest in peace to Owen Hart. Like I'm just I can't say that I'm a fan. Like I said, I wasn't watching wrestling then. I didn't really start knowing of his situation until now. But still, like any respect that I can pay to him, like I will. But it's messed up, and they don't even like acknowledge him in like wrestling, or just they don't try to like honor his legacy or do like you know like something at least like have it where he's like put into video games or something. You know, pay some sort of respect to him. You know, because that man, it's yeah, that's I think they should do something to honor him. Like I don't care if it's like a trophy or what, but they should do something, work things out with his wife, and then try to figure out a way like how can we honor him in wrestling, not just WWE, but like all of wrestling. You know, so that's just how I feel about it. But anyways, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. It's been another Moss Gets Athletic video. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah, and peace.